Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Krystal, and gather around and listen to a story all about how my life got turned. No, um, how my mom discovered that I did indeed need glasses. This is, this is quite the story. So, I had mentioned to at least one of my parents at the time that I needed glasses. I felt like I needed glasses. I couldn't see very well. I was in college at the time, and I felt like I had to sit at the front of the room so I could read anything written on the board because I just could not see. And I'm like, listen, I can't see. I think I need glasses. And my parents, they're busy, life and stuff. And so, I was like, whatever, okay, cool, we'll handle it, just, blah, blah, blah. So, one night, my best friend worked at a grocery store, and she was working that night, and I was waiting on her to get off so we could go, do hood rat shit around town together. Because that's what we did. I was waiting on her to get off work, and so I was parked in front of the grocery store, and it was one of those, if I remember correctly, it was one of those times of year where once it gets dark, it gets kind of like a little bit chillier, but it's not like cold, so your air conditioner or, kind of like fogs up your glass or whatnot, and yada yada yada. It's hard, you gotta turn on the defroster, fix the problem. It was a little misty. And in front of this grocery store, you know how they'll have like the big yellow concrete poles that are probably about like this big around? Normally they have like a sign coming out of them that says like handicap. Well, this one it had the yellow poles at a couple of parking spots, but they didn't have any signs coming out of them. Not that I remember. Or maybe it did. This has been a while, okay? I was like, actually, I may not have even been in college yet. I might have been fresh out of high school. I don't remember. I think I was in college though. So I was like 17, 18, 18-ish, whatever. So, no, I would have had to have still been in high school. It doesn't matter. So anyways, I hadn't been driving very long. That's the point, okay? A year or two max. And so I'd been parked out there for a while. She comes out, she comes over to my window, and she's like, hey, I think she wanted to go to her aunt's house so she could go change out of her like grocery store uniform thing. And she was like, follow me over there. We'll hop in the car together once we get, after I change, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, cool. I pull out of my parking spot to turn around to follow her out, and somehow manage to drive over one of those big yellow concrete poles. But you would think that I would have just like hit the pole and like stopped, like I would have hit the pole and the pole would have like, smashed my car, and that would have been that. But that's not the situation, okay? I don't know if I had an incredibly strong car or that pole was really weak, but the pole bent and my car ramped up the pole. Just to let you know, this is like a probably like waist height pole. It's not like a, you know what I mean. So my car like ramps up. My friend was watching, by the way, ramps up the pole. The pole is bent like almost flat on the ground. My car goes up, down, and we're good. But obviously I knew that my car kind of up in the air. So I stop and we're looking, and legit, my car is perfectly fine except for a small dent in my passenger side back fender. That is the only thing that was wrong. Of course, at this moment, my adrenaline is going so hard. I'm just like, And she's like, just get in the car and let's go. Let's go. So I follow her. And honestly, I'm just like, we ain't gonna say nothing. We ain't gonna say nothing. And when my dad goes, where'd that dent come from? I'm gonna be like, oh my gosh, where did that dent come from? But my mother is so amazing that she just told my dad that she was driving my car, and I don't remember what exactly she said, but she said she did the dent. My dad really didn't seem to give a shit. He popped the dent back out, problem solved. But I will say that when my BFF went back to work the next time, everybody was talking about what the heck happened to that pole in the front of the grocery store. And she's just like, I don't know, man. I don't know what happened to that pole. I did eventually get glasses, and turns out I needed them to drive. I needed glasses to drive. My main things are I can't see at night. I need them to drive a car. It was nighttime and I was in a car. And I can't see far away. I can see close up just fine, but I can't see far away. So it was just a recipe for disaster. And I blame it on the fact that I needed glasses. But I've never been, when I first started driving, I wasn't a bad driver. It's just I was kind of unlucky, it seemed like. Another instance, I did hit a deer, and my dad had always told me, if a deer runs out in front of you, because I grew up in in a small town. My house was 10 minutes out of town in like the middle of nowhere, like woods type stuff. We're riding back roads to get there. Well, I wasn't supposed to be. I was supposed to take the main road, but I took the back roads because you could speed on those, okay? And so I'm coming around a curve, a deer runs out in front of me, and my dad had always told me, if a deer runs out in front of you, do not jerk the steering wheel. Don't slam on your brakes really hard, because he was trying to keep me from like flying off the road into trees or whatever in oncoming traffic. So when I saw that deer, the words of my dad came into my head, and I literally did not hit the brakes. I smacked that deer going full force, and I did so much damage to my car. It was still drivable, but I knocked out a headlight. I knocked out the driver's side headlight. I bent the hood. I demolished the bumper. I messed up the front driver's side fender. Like, we did some damage. But I remember I was like, oh shit, my dad's gonna kill me. So I drive to my dad's shop, and I pulled up in a way that he couldn't see that part of the car. And as soon as I walked in, he says, what happened to your car? And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, I know the way you parked is weird. What's up? And I'm like, okay, so I hit a deer. And he goes and looks, and I mean, he wasn't mad, because I mean, like, I can't control the deer, but he did want to know where I was. And if I remember correctly, I lied about my location because I wasn't supposed to be on this road. I can't remember if I lied or not. I may have not. I don't know. I don't remember. Also, I mean, I was in college. Listen, this does not stop. I was in college, and I was at a red light. The red light turned green, and I was taking a left. I was like the only one there, so I go to take a left. This old lady runs the red light. I'm talking about doing like 45 miles per hour. She runs the red light, hits my car on the passenger side. My best friend was with me, okay? So I pull over. This lady gets out and immediately starts talking about, it's your fault. It's your fault. You're paying for my car. And I'm like, no, you ran the red light. And so the cops come, and he starts, processing the situation. Well, then a call comes in, because apparently a scorned girlfriend was up at Taco Bell ready to stab her boyfriend. I'm pretty sure that was what was going to happen. And so he takes my driver's license, her driver's license, and our insurance, says you have to stay here. He leaves. Mind you, I'm from a small town. There wasn't a ton of cops. He leaves to go to Taco Bell, and we're just sitting here on the side of Main Street. And so I call my mom, she comes up there, and she's just like, well, forget this. I'm going to go over to the car wash, And I'm going to ask these dudes that hang out at the car wash if they saw what happened. So she goes over there. She goes over to the car wash. She asks them, hey, did you see the accident? And they're like, yeah. And she was like, did that woman run the red light? And they're like, yeah. So she gets them to come over. And when the cop comes back, they file a report saying that that lady indeed did run the red light and hit my car, and her fault. So I'm glad that that girl was mad at Taco Bell. Nothing happened there. They fixed the situation. Everything was fine. Yeah, and then literally a week later, to the day, almost the exact same time of day, I was sitting at a stop sign, and it was a three-way, like, stop type of situation, if I remember correctly. It's vague. It's foggy. It's been a while since I've been in college. And at the time, I'm in a yellow Mustang, okay? I turn, and this lady runs the stop sign, hits my car, peels my bumper off like a can, like just like a can lid, just. And she's like, I didn't see you. And I'm like, you didn't see this big banana yellow Mustang in front of your, whatever. She was very, very kind. She literally was like, it's my fault. I'm sorry. I didn't see you. And I'm like, well, you're supposed to stop at that stop sign regardless. Like, but you know, whatever. So after that, I was just like, I'm never going to drive again. So I was like uber cautious, so cautious. And there was a red light, okay? And there was like the main road that went out of town, and then there was a main road that went this way. Obviously, people are going fast both ways, but you know, you have to stop at the red light. I was at the red light, and it turned green for me, but something told me not to go. And so I sat there for a second, and thank goodness I did, because a car probably doing 65 ran the red light and would have T-boned me had I went. And I was like, thank you, Lord, for saving me from that one. Y'all, this is why anybody that is with me, I don't like to drive. I will drive for my mother. I will drive for my children. Anybody else? No. You will be driving me. I don't like driving vehicles. Okay, I've had lots of bad experiences. I got rear-ended one time. We were sitting still because there was a car in front of me that wanted to turn left, and there were cars coming. So I was just sitting there waiting on this car to get to turn so I could go. A teenage girl was not paying attention. She was doing like 45, smacked into the back end of my car. We ended up having to go in an ambulance to the hospital because we got rear-ended. It was so hard. I had a headband on. It flew off of my head. Everything in the back of my car was like on the dash almost. My best friend, the visor was down, and somehow she cut her forehead on the visor. I don't know if she had her seatbelt like off of her shoulder, like the shoulder strap like tucked under her arm or something, and her head was able to go forward, but she had a cut on her forehead. She had to get stitches, all this stuff. It was a hot mess. Yeah, so I don't love driving. I don't love driving. It's not my favorite. I'm very cautious. I'm a very paranoid driver. When my husband drives, I'm constantly like, do you see that car? Do you see that? Oh my gosh, how fast are you going? You know we have to turn up here. You need to get over. We have to turn in 10 miles. We have to exit to the right. You need to go ahead and get over in the right lane. Like, I am paranoid when it comes to being in a vehicle. And I'm constantly paranoid I'm going to get rear-ended. So whenever I stop, I'm instantly like looking in my rear view to make sure no one's like coming up on me really fast. So that's just a few little quirks about me. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. This little story time. If you have any crazy driving stories, leave them in the comments down below. I don't think anything will ever top me ramping that pole. To this day, we still giggle about it. There's a meme of a car up on a pole, and it's like female drivers, and sometimes my BFF like will send it to me on Facebook. So if I can find that, I will try to inserted in the video somewhere, probably back whenever I was talking about it. I love you guys. If you have any ideas for videos or topics for videos that you would like me to chat about, please leave them in the comments down below. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider doing so before you go, and I will see you next week. Bye.